he gave me a thumbs up, I know.
Because I printed one, and they have another one.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is now 6:59. We're going to start the meeting in a minute. I'm just asking everyone to put their phones on silent or vibrate at this time.
How are you? Tired? Oh, I'm tired.
It is now 7 p.m. I want to welcome you all to our regular city council meeting. Today is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. And we always start our meetings with an invocation, and then following that is a pledge of allegiance. And our invocation will be led by our dear neighbor and friend, Mr. Zander. So I ask you all to stand with us and join us in the invocation, and followed by a pledge of allegiance, please.
Thank you, Mary. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. And let this council go smooth this evening. Pray for our families and friends. We just love you, Lord, and we do care about everybody here tonight. Let this meeting go through. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Zander. We have a proclamation that Councilman DeMonico put on here for honoring the life of the Honorable Carl F. Gertz III. Councilman, you want to talk more about that?
Sure. Let's go down to the podium.
I didn't get to read it, so I'm going to stay here and let you all go ahead and do that.
All right, everyone, we've got a proclamation to honor our previous judge who recently passed away. The City of Eastpointe proclamation honoring the life of the Honorable Carl F. Gertz III. Whereas Carl Gertz was born May 22nd, 1952 in East Detroit, at the time, of course. Carl graduated from Lutheran High School East in Harper Woods and attended Concordia Lutheran College in Illinois, eventually earning his undergraduate degree at the University of Detroit. Then Carl earned his Juris Doctorate at the University of Michigan Law School. And whereas Carl Gertz worked at the law office of Joseph Mihalik and later opened his own firm with his partner Mark Fugalo, building a new law office in Eastpointe. And whereas Carl Gertz was elected to the Eastpointe City Council and later appointed Mayor Pro Tem, in 2008, Carl Gertz was elected 38th District Court Judge and served for 12 years. And whereas Carl Gertz met his wife Rosalind when they attended school as children at St. Peter's Lutheran in Eastpointe. They were both baptized in 1952, confirmed in 1966, and married in 1974. They had 3 children and 7 grandchildren. And whereas Carl Gertz spent a lot of his time working for the community, he was the chairman of St. Peter's Congregation, chairman of St. Peter's Board of Education, chairman of St. Peter's Early Childhood Center Capital Campaign Committee. He also served as president and chairman of the Board of Trustees of LFA number 57. And whereas Carl Gertz is a lifelong resident of Eastpointe, had a long record of civic and community involvement. He served as chairman of the Eastpointe Civil Service Commission, Eastpointe Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Eastpointe Downtown Development Authority. He also was a member and past president of the Eastpointe Chamber of Commerce. Now therefore, the mayor and city council for the city of Eastpointe do hereby proclaim that the Honorable Carl F. Gertz III is hereby recognized for his contributions to the community as a husband, father, judge, councilman, and member of many organizations, boards, and commissions. Proclaim this 21st day of January, 2023.
Moving right along to the presentation for the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance. And that presentation will be given by Charity Dean, who is the CEO, and also Kai Bowman, who's the COO. If you are in attendance, you can go right to the podium. Oh, good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I am Charity Dean.
I'm Kai Bowman.
We represent the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance. We are so excited to be here today to talk to you a little bit about our organization, but also our partnership with the city of Eastpointe. So I don't know how to.
Ian's got the next slide.
Ian, thank you, Ian. So the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance is about 2 years old. We are a Chamber of Commerce Plus. So not only are we a Chamber of Commerce for black businesses in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County, but we also serve as a business-serving organization. So our goal is to make sure that black-owned businesses have everything that they need to thrive. So I'll turn it over to Kai to talk about our team, our mission statement, and core values.
Yep. So we launched in March of 2021, just the two of us in an office, a bare office. Charity and I both previously worked for the mayor of the city of Detroit, Mayor Duggan. And so since then, we've grown our team to a team of 8 now. Our mission, as Charity said, we exist for the sole purpose of helping to close the racial wealth gap through the lens of entrepreneurship. And so we do that in a number of ways. One of those ways is through programming. The other is through policy advocacy. And so I can talk. Next slide.
I'm going to jump right in before you do that. So the Kellogg Foundation produced a report in 2018. It's called The Business Case for Racial Equity. So in order for you to really understand what we do and why we do it, I want to talk a little bit about what the racial wealth gap is. So what that means that in Michigan, when you have a white family and a black family with the same education and the same income, the white family is going to have 9 times the wealth of the black family. So you can search the Kellogg Foundation's report. It's called The Business Case for Racial Equity. Goldman Sachs also did a similar report that looked at the racial wealth gap in the country. It's very similar. And so one of the things that the Kellogg Foundation did say was, okay, the state of Michigan is losing $92 billion, or we stand to gain $92 billion if we close the wealth gap by 2050. And then they gave us 12 items to do so. Numbers 11 and 12 were about how do we help minority entrepreneurs, and that's where the Black Business Alliance comes in.
Yep. So in the last 2 years, we've grown our membership up to about 750 members across the 3 counties. 70% of those members are women. Women-owned.
Girl power. I can say that in the name of Beyonce.
And so our membership is largely concentrated in Wayne County at the moment, and so the reason for our excitement for the city of Eastpointe is because we would love to expand and really penetrate Macomb and Oakland County. And so excited that this will be one of our first municipalities that will be a partner of ours. And so we do it in a number of ways. I'll let Charity talk about some of the policy stuff, and then I'll talk about programming.
Yeah, so we think that we can help close this wealth gap in 2 ways. Programs, and we've got lots of programs, and they're really great, but that's not enough. We have to be engaged in policy. We have to be talking to the people that are making decisions, that are making the rules in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County. And so we've been engaged at at the city level, for sure, in the city of Detroit, with Detroit City Council on ordinances that might impact Black-owned businesses, small businesses generally, micro businesses. Also, the picture in our on our screen there is we hosted a congressional town hall when the 12th and 13th congressional district, for the 12th and 13th congressional districts last year, and with the specific focus of small business. Right, so a lot of times folks get elected into office, but one of the things we know about at least Detroit and what we think is going to be similar across the state is that 50% of those employed, at least in Detroit, we think that the trend is the same across the state, are employed by small businesses. So when we're thinking about advocating for Black-owned businesses, advocating for small businesses, we have to be engaged in policy as well as programs.
Next slide, Eva. So programming-wise, we have 5 programs that are our core programs. The first is we have inside of our office is our Black Business Resource Center. It's located downtown Detroit. We host a number of our events there. We do an event called Walking Wednesday, where we partner with a number of corporations and community partners to just kind of address different issues that may be pertinent to small business owners. Tomorrow, for example, we'll have our Taxes and Tacos event, right? And
So come get tacos.
but that allows businesses to be able to come in, work with CPAs to kind of get the tax consultation that they need in order to be able to file their taxes properly. We also have perhaps our core program, the program that a number of people have come to know our organization for, is our Capital Connect program. It's a program that Charity and I birthed, where we help to help Black entrepreneurs access capital. We know that, some of the banking rules that were placed before us many years ago have negatively impacted Black-owned businesses. And so with this program, what we do, we work to remove all barriers to accessing capital. And so we've done that to the tune of over $4 million in the last 18 months, directly in the hands of Black-owned business. It's a 12-week cohort-based program where we go through business plan development, financial projections, and pitch development. And at the end, we connect them to funders, and we kind of hold their hands throughout the entire process. We have our BizWiz program. If you've ever been to Best Buy and you see Geek Squad, BizWiz is basically Geek Squad for Black entrepreneurs. Any and everything under the sun. Really. And it's a member-focused program where our members will call us for anything. Hey, I want to contract with the city of Eastpointe, right? How do I do that? And so we make
We
these
call
different
Ian
connections.
and say, Ian, how do you help us?
We have our Up Next program, which is Charity's favorite program.
Yes, I'm going to talk about Up Next for a little bit. So I want to say one thing about our programs. So we are the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance, which means that our members are not just Detroit businesses. They are Macomb County businesses, they are Oakland County businesses, and they can take advantage of all of these programs. Some of these things that we're talking about, Walk-In Wednesdays, we're excited to bring to Eastpointe as a partner. But our Up Next program is where we take young people ages 18 to 24, 16 to 24, and we pay them to work for our members. Because one of the things that we know is the access to capital is one of the first needs for Black-owned businesses, but also access to labor and workforce. And so some of the things that we're trying to do is how can we help solve that problem as the Black Business Alliance. And I want to be clear, we're the Black Business Alliance, which means our mission, as we talked about, is about closing that race gap, but our members look pretty much, they're diverse. We have ally members, we have brown members, right? We have Black members. So all of these programs are not just for Black businesses, they're for all of our members, but our goal here is really to help close that racial wealth gap.
Yep. And so we're looking at expanding our Up Next program. This summer, last summer, we piloted with roughly about 10 kids, and so we'll expand that program this summer. With BizWiz, we've put another almost $4 million directly in the hands of Black entrepreneurs to help. A lot of those projects being like commercial real estate projects, commercial development projects. And then we do 2 major events per year. Some of you may or may not have heard of our Juneteenth Freedom Fest last year. We did at the Eastern Market. There were roughly Charity expected 300 people. I expected about 1,500, 5,000 people showed up last summer at the Eastern Market. And so this year we expect it to be even larger. We've got and it's a collection of, we use Shed 5 at Eastern Market as a marketplace for vendors. We have about 50 to 60 vendors there. There's music, there's just education around Juneteenth. There's a kids zone, there's a grown zone. It's on Father's Day, so I'm very mindful of that to make sure that it's not just all socks and ties. And so we have more than enough things to do for the dads on that day. But we'll be doing it again. This will be our second annual event. We're working on a really large headliner that I think will resonate within this region for that event. And then we also do our holiday party in December, which helps to fundraise for our programming throughout the year.
Next slide.
Next slide.
So what we're excited about is, as our members, like Kai said, we've got about 750 members or so. Obviously, we've got discount programs for our members, so you've got a card, you can use it at various locations. All of our members are automatically members of the Small Business Association of Michigan, and so that organization, which is led by former Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, is advocating for small businesses at the state level, and they have all of their health insurance things that are available to our members. But what we're really excited about is bringing some of the things that we are already doing in Detroit to Eastpointe. So whether it's our, coming in for our BizWiz program, doing walk-in Wednesdays here, our Truth to Power series, which we would love to do with the elected officials of the city of Eastpointe, which we've done with folks. We've done one with Mark Hackel. We've done it with the mayor of Detroit, where we take Black businesses and elected officials and put them in a virtual setting so they can ask questions, so that elected officials can really hear the needs of what our members are, and then begin to make real policy decisions as a result of that. So we're really excited to be a partner here, and I think that, is that all right? Yep, and I think that concludes our presentation. Thank you. Also, that's a preview of our annual report, so no one else has seen it before.
Thank you. I don't know if council has any questions or anything like that we can add. Well, thank you. I love everything that you're doing.
Thank
Been
you.
following you all for a while. Thank you for coming to Eastpointe.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next is roll call. Ms. Holman.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Communis,
Present?
Councilmember Curley,
Here.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Here.
Mayor Owens.
Here, the approval of the agenda.
Mayor, if we could add the one item, I'd motion we add the one item from Mr. Albright, the resolution for vacation of alley at Eastland Women's Clinic as new business item K.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
The next item is the hearing of the public. We have one in the beginning and one at the end. You get 3 minutes. The hearing of the public is now open.
My name is Vicki Coleman, 23-year resident. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council, staff, and residents. Congratulations, Councilwoman Cobb Munez. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
The Unity Statue Initiative. I attended the initial meeting at Kennedy Park. We were told that the statue would erect in October of 2021. I also worked the pre-cruise of 2021 at the UFW Hall on 9 Mile Road in Eastpointe, Michigan. I was asked by Mary Hall Rayford to work the community rummage sale. I declined because I was deleted from the Eastpointe community page when I questioned the continued negative comments that Mary Hall Rayford made in regards to Mayor Owens. October 2021 came and went. In 2022, there were no fundraising for the Unity statue and no update status on the use of the funds collected. The person who went on local TV to promote unity in the community is now suing the mayor and the city, the community. I see that as an oxymoron. In conclusion, prior to the incident here at City Hall, Mary Hall Rayford, Councilman Curley, and Commissioner Lucido were together at then Councilwoman Lucido's home for her campaign on June 25th, 2022. Mary Hall Rayford sat on the arm of Councilman Curley's chair. The sofa was completely available. That's where I sat. I was asked by Mary Hall Rayford about Mayor Owens. I did not engage. The goal of the erection of the Unity statue was never met. However, I think that the goal was met when Mary Hall Rayford figured out a way to get close enough in proximity to Mayor Owens to create havoc. Oxymoron, unity in the community, to suing the community? Wow.
30 seconds.
Count it all joy when you're going through. It's just a step stool to the rest of your journey. Congratulations. Nothing about being the mayor of a beautiful city like Eastpointe is weak. I've heard that. I watch it. Thank you for opening doors for others. I admire you as an individual who I had the pleasure of picking up debris with you and your well-behaved daughters. Keep up the good work. And I'm a senior, and you've never been rude to me. You're only rude to the people who are rude to you.
Thank you.
And I did get this notarized. So if I can submit it, I will. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. For those of you who don't know, I'm Mary Hall Rayford, proud resident of the city, proud of everything I've been able to do to help bring unity to this community. And in spite of all the personal attacks that have been made, I am not giving up on anyone in the city. We are a wonderfully diverse community. And I believe we can all get together if we set aside personal agendas. I don't have one. Just to be able to live in this city in peace, so when I finally sit down at 75, I can write, which is what I came here to do to begin with. When I see wrong, I speak on it. When I speak, I only want to speak truth based on facts, not feelings. And it's truly unfortunate that one person who was here in November of 21 who witnessed the accost so they could speak on it. This is not personal. This is about taking care of business and looking out for every resident in this city, not one group, every resident. Because when we are elected, we take an oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Michigan. If you're not sure what that Constitution says, you might want to read it, especially the First Amendment. I'm not out here to start problems. I'm out here to try to help solve them. Thank you.
Anyone else at this time?
Hello, Karen Bouts again. I've been a resident for over 40 years. So many people have voiced their frustrations and concerns about Eastpointe at city council meetings, on social media, the news, and in private circles. Some people support the mayor, many do not. Some think we need to continue to give this mayor more chances to do her job. She's had 2 years as a city council member to learn how to conduct herself and city business. She's had more than 3 years as mayor to prove herself. She's had 5 years of on-the-job training. And yet, here we are. We're still experiencing controversy and negative publicity. Sadly, we do have to keep talking about the past because it keeps repeating itself. As far back as 2019, Monique Owens has shown a pattern of trying to intimidate residents, both inside and outside of City Hall. In 2019, Monique Owens called the police on an 80-year-old woman and tried to have her arrested because she didn't like what this woman was saying at a public venue. At that time, a police officer explained to everyone First Amendment rights. In 2020, Monique Owens had police escort another elderly Eastpointe woman off the property at a public event at Foot Locker because Mrs. Trice was recording her. In 2021, Monique Owens contacted the police because a volunteer committee member did not call her mayor during an informal meeting at City Hall. In 2022, Monique Owens made a police report and tried to take out a PPO on an 84-year-old fellow council member because he yelled at her at the Gratiot Cruise. I repeat, I've said it repeatedly because she said that she got a PPO. But those charges were dropped. The PPO was denied. These 4 residents were and are well known in this community and had no violent criminal past that I know of. And they pose no real physical threat. I wish we could focus on city government. I really do. Eastpointe has so many serious problems, and unfortunately, we've spent the last 3 years focused on this mayor's ego and very public actions. And apparently, it's not going to stop. And she still smiles. Whenever I get up here, she
Thank
still
you.
grins.
Your time is up. Thank you. That was beautiful. Next, please.
Hi, Cindy Federley, longtime resident. I want to address the agenda item to spend $800 for the Detroit Black Business Alliance. I visited their website. I did not hear anything. You did a great presentation, but I don't see any benefit for the city of Eastpointe. I see benefit for small business owners. We're a very small city. We have an economic development manager and a chamber of commerce already. Their purpose is to assist business development. I'm hoping that council will envision this $800 is coming out of your personal bank account. It's a lot of money to spend for a membership that's only going to benefit a few businesses, many of whom don't even live in our city. So I really want you to take that under advisement, even though they did do a great presentation. It seems to be for businesses, not cities. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time?
Good afternoon to the council and to the mayor. I have some complaints. And, well, first of all, I'm going to start with the mayor. She only could do what City of Eastpointe allows her to do. So I'm with the other lady. Give her a chance. It takes time to do things. I haven't had any problems with her when I talk to her. She got other people that's working with her. So when the other people is not working with her, then she don't blame her, blame the other people. Okay? She's over her head. She can't go over her head without the other people. Okay? For one, let me tell you, I did call her about the sidewalk. We paid for the sidewalk, then they turned around and digged it up, and knowing that they was going to have to put the water lines in there, okay? Also, we're driving in our driveway, might tear up our tires, and we got to drive, when we drive in our driveway, we driving dirt in our driveway, so we stepping on that dirt that's coming and have to bring it to our house. I think that is unfair, okay? She addressed that with me and did a good job. But like she said, she's got other people that won't compensate with her, okay? 2, I called her about the snow piling up in our driveway. We got a big field that we could have that snow poured down there instead of piling up. I couldn't get to work, okay? She addressed that, okay? 3, we got these people that's living in houses that they don't supposed to be there, and she's been working on that. So give her some time. Don't put it all on her, because she's got people that's working around her that's not for her, okay? She's a good mayor. If the other people that surrounded her will work with her and stop hindering her.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Here we go again. I didn't want to get up here and address this problem about residents continuing getting on the mayor and the council. We got more problems to worry about concerning the situations in this city. First of all, I'd like to have the council address the problems we were having recently about the clarification with the water problem in Highland Park. I never got a complete answer concerning that. Second of all, the animals. We're having a very major problem with the animals. Maybe some of these pet owners need to be held a little bit more liable for it. Believe me, I've had dogs, I have Rottweilers, I have Bouviers, but I kept track of my animals just like I did my kids. Apparently, some of you keep letting these dogs and cats out, and it seems to be a major problem going around here. Just a quick quote on, I don't want to say much about Black History Month, but this is just in my opinion. We need to do more concerning Black history. We have to go back further than just a couple years or decades. We need to go back centuries to find out the main problem of how we keep allowing ourselves to be put in this problem. All my life, all I've been hearing is about we're seen to be in the bottom of the pile. We start to be coming back up. It is economics, like people were saying. We've been at the bottom, and we need to come together to make sure this city functions properly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I actually wanted to talk about animal control, so this is a good follow-up. About a month ago, right after one of those big snowstorms we had, I actually had a stray roaming down my street, running up and down the street. I let him into the yard just to see if he was friendly. He was. So I let him in the house since it was snowing out, so I wanted to keep him dry and warm. So I started looking around. I posted on several Facebook pages, groups to try and find the owner. Called several shelters in the area, as well as Warren and Eastpointe Animal Control, since I'm right on the border. Animal Control said they were full. Apparently they only have 3 cages. They told me to hold the dog myself, or to rehome him if an owner couldn't be found. I believe Councilman DeMonico had a similar issue a while back where he was asked to hold on to a dog himself because they were full. That doesn't seem real acceptable to me. The dog was nice though, so I did take care of him for a few weeks. Finally, the owners were found. It was on a weekend. They sent me a picture of it asking me if this was the dog I had. I responded. I didn't hear back until Tuesday. In the meantime, I got some emails for city employees. I emailed, one of them got back to me and said that they would pick the dog up from me and then drop it off in the people's yard. Again, I don't think that's the way, the procedure that we're supposed to go by. That didn't seem right to me. So what ended up happening, the officer got a hold of me finally on Tuesday. They took the dog to the person's home and forced them to take it back again, which I'm sure it probably will end up on the streets again, because they weren't able to take care of it in the first place. In the time I was searching around, I found that all the shelters were actually full in the area. They're either full or they don't accept strays, or they have a city contract for one particular city or area. It didn't seem like we had any of those options. Animal control seemed to me as the only option. While I was searching, I did come across one rescue, the Detroit Pit Crew Rescue. I spoke with the woman that runs that. She did say that a while ago she had tried to donate several things to the city of Eastpointe, including a large cage on wheels and a bunch of other stuff. She said no one ever went to get it or had contacted them back. So just some needs that I think really we need is more cages would be great. Obviously, we do have a lot of strays going on. Overflow options, having shelters that can take dogs when they've been there for a while, so we don't just have 3 of them clogging up the whole works. And then community outreach. I don't know if the officers spoke, how much the officers spoke with those owners, but more outreach to them, letting them know how they can keep their dog in their yard, different options like that, I think would definitely be helpful. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you went over 2 minutes, though. Anyone else who'd like to speak?
Good evening, everyone. Terry Lynn, Riverdale, Michigan, and every time I come to these council meetings, it's very disappointing. I don't know if I'm in a zoo or a daycare, and that's too much credibility. I'm a supporter of Mayor, and the situation at the Gratiot Cruise, ridiculous. I'm still waiting on Councilman Curley, who got in her face and publicly intimidated her and disrespected her. It'd be nice if you apologize, Mr. Christian man. That would be a start of coming together. The mayor has done nothing wrong, and I don't care if you're 75, if you're 80, or 150. Respect is respect. You come after me or my children, I'm calling the law on you. We have to do better. You have to do better. You can't disrespect leadership. Leadership cannot disrespect leadership. You are grown, and some of you getting ready to go meet your maker. Get yourself together.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Clifton Hall, and I'm here to address the problem. The Kmart building, can they do something to try to figure out where all of that debris and stuff come from that blows up in there? And now it is terrible. And also, I want to raise the point about funding the proposal, make a proposal to fund the mayor to go to the trip to Washington and the other mayors and stuff, so she would be invited automatically, and she would be a great access to all of the Eastpointe residents. Could you please fund that? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else?
My heart goes out to the Michigan State University community and their grieving families. Moving on, I wrote my comments for the last council meeting that I wasn't able to attend, and this is what I would have said, and I'm going to say it now. To set the record straight, the PPO against Councilman Curley was denied along with the appeal. The Macomb County Sheriff also declined to pursue charges against him. There's no reason to re-victimize Councilman Curley. This is supposed to be a council meeting, not somewhere to preach about your religion that is not shared by everyone, whether in attendance or watching from home. There's a reason why there's a separation between church and state exists. That was blatantly ignored in the last 16 rambling minutes before closed session. Dr. King was spinning in his grave over that antithetical behavior towards his teachings. This also is not an elementary school. This is no place for people to act like fifth grade bullies or fifth grade mean girls. It's ridiculous. It's also not a dive bar. If you don't like the comments you hear, you don't charge at someone in a violent manner and shout, "Let's take it outside in the parking lot." You don't get to play victim when your conduct is hostile and you're screaming in a government official's face. Our deputy chief did not get out of his seat when I was being charged after because he had nothing else better to do, nor was he bored. He knew he had to act quickly due to the deplorable act of hostility and aggression of a belligerent male. Violence is the lowest common denominator of society. Misogynists react with rage towards women, no matter what is said. This type of conduct shall not be tolerated at council meetings. It's shameful and it's also dangerous. Mary Hall Rayford is not a co-defendant, and I have not played victim for 3 months over a neighbor. And not having the correct facts is akin to all the
30 seconds.
misinformation that's spread on the internet. The city attorney and Judge Galen are prudent in their roles as ministers of justice. They found the facts to be compelling regarding the charges against that neighbor. No one gets to use violence to silence others, and it shouldn't be condoned at any time for anyone, any reason. Those who adhere to the Constitution, the preamble, and charter don't demand fanfare and recognition. They just humbly carry out that expectation.
Your time
in
is
their
up, ma'am.
duties.
Thank you for your comments and concerns. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Anyone else? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is now closed. We have a second hearing of the public closer to the end. Can I get approval of minutes?
Madam Mayor, I
Careful.
would move that we receive and file the minutes of the regular meeting of February 7th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes. Next item is a scheduled hearing for the Department of Natural Resources Park Grants Program, Round 2 Application Public Hearing. That is now open for any discussion. Council, did you have any remarks? Or you all can wait till new business? But we want to always give the residents and business owners in the city a chance to speak on what we should do as far as grants and programs and... Yes, ma'am, you can come up.
One of the things I thought, I'm Cindy Federley, by the way, we're all adults talking about what we think our children are going to want. Has anybody thought about going into the schools, say the older elementary or middle school, and asking the kids not to fill out a piece of paper, but have a conversation with a group of kids and say, what would you want to see in our parks? And maybe get ideas from the young people, which would make more sense than what I think as an adult I would want to have. And I still really think we should push for the water park.
Thank you. I believe our city manager did talk to the superintendent of schools. He's very proactive on collaboration and partnership. But thank you for that additional opinion. Anyone else would like to speak about some ideas about our Sparks Grant program? We're in round 2. Seeing none. The public hearing for the Department of Natural Resource Spark Grants Program Round 2 application is now closed. We have no unfinished business. Reports from administration. Good evening to our city manager, Ms. Walton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First and foremost, happy birthday, Mayor.
Thank you.
We're here on your actual birthday, and it's Black History Month. We've had an incredible presentation by Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance, so it's an incredible way to celebrate your birthday, so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to highlight we have the Modern 9 event. It's a business resource fair here in City Hall.
Your time is up.
My time is
Your
up.
time is up.
Tomorrow, so our business resource fair for the 9 Mile construction is scheduled for tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We have a special presentation by our incredible engineer and our DPW director and economic development manager, and Mara should be here. Our planner as well will be here. So at 2 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be highlighting a lot of the important aspects of that project. So if you're a business on 9 Mile, if you live near 9 Mile, or you have questions about that construction and how it will affect you, please come out tomorrow from 1 to 4. And if you have just a split moment of time, come at 2 o'clock and see the presentation and ask some questions about the project. The Economic Development Fellow that we were awarded through CDAM, we are still accepting applications through March 5th. So if you know anyone that is familiar with economic development, looking to get more involvement with economic development or participate with the City of Eastpointe, please direct them to the CDAM website. We also have a link on our website to apply, again, through March 5th. The state of the city, we have our Mayor Owens, Superintendent Ms. Gibson, and our judge, Judge Galen, will be presenting at the State of the City on March 2nd at 11:30. Tickets are still available. You can get them through the Chamber of Commerce. We invite you all to come out. Most of our directors and department heads will also be there, and then our incredible council members will also be in attendance for that. The clerk's office is currently accepting petitions for the office of mayor. So if you're interested, please come in during business hours and pull your petitions for the office of mayor. City administration is currently working on budget and will be prepared to present the budget to city council at the first meeting in April. So if you're interested in that, please come to that first meeting in April for additional information in that presentation. That meeting will also be scheduling the budget workshops in May. So that's also a good time if you'd like to hear more line item detail to attend the budget workshops in May. DPW currently has 2 contractors in the community working on replacing lead lines. We are replacing an estimated up to 35 lines per week, which is incredible. So thank you, Darren and Ryan, for all the work you and your team do every day in keeping track of those. And we'll continue replacing those lines as the current budget permits. Water filters are still available, as well as replacement cartridges. So we have them at DPW, the library, and City Hall. So if you need a replacement cartridge or you still haven't gotten a filter, please reach out to one of those agencies or stop in and they can get you a water filter. We do still need volunteers. We have to test 60 homes that have a verified lead service line. So if you do have a lead service line, please reach out to our DPW if you're interested to partake in the testing. We have to test 60 homes with verified lead lines twice per year. So if you'd like to test, please reach out to DPW and we can get you registered for that. We're also working on water main replacement. DPW is incredibly busy. So we're replacing water main. We just completed the water main replacement on 9 Mile. We're also in the process of Birchwood, Firwood, and Beechwood. So we have had some things online that highlight some water complaints or water being turned off. Our DPW workers do go to every single home in the area where water will be turned off to provide an immediate notice. If there's an emergency shut off, if something happens during work, we do post on Nixle. So if that information to get a Nixle emergency alert is also on our website, and that comes directly to your phone and email. And then I also highlight, sir, you had mentioned the Highland Park debt recovery. The last update that we actually received was in August. In August, they stated that there was a ruling for Highland Park, And in June 2022, they actually announced that the bad debt recovery will not be added to our current rates. So we haven't gotten an update yet. There was likely going to be an appeal, but at this time, we don't have an update, but we do know that it will not be in our current rates. And with that, Mayor, I can answer any additional questions you may have.
Any questions, council? Or concern? I know I talked to the city manager about us going back and bringing back up the cleanup initiative that we started last year. We cleaned up the city twice a month. We're going to do it on Saturdays. We were doing it Thursdays. And we've seen a decline in people coming out. So we're going to do it on Saturdays. Before we did it last year, we were doing it once a year. So we came up and did it twice a month to keep our city clean. So anyone that is a resident or a business owner, we are held accountable how our city looks. Even if you are a pastor and you have a church here, let's clean up our community. It's ours. Can't blame other people. They're going to do whatever they want, but it's our city. So let's keep it clean. So we're getting that together. We want to start it in April. We talked about that. It should be a little bit warmer then. And what else did we talk about? We talked about a lot of things. We did. Well, that's one of the things. So please, we're starting that cleanup initiative to keep our city clean. And it's up to us to move our city forward. We're going to go right to our, thank you, Ms. Walton. We're going to go to our finance director, Mr. Blum. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. As our city manager said, we have been working on budget. It's kind of all consuming here for the month of February. The only item I actually have is the opioid settlement. We did receive our first of 2 checks in the amount of $72,000. The second one will be significantly smaller at about $3,000. So the city will receive a total of $75,000 on the settlement, and there are certain things the city can use it for. We're kind of going through the requirements at this point to figure out what would be best for the city, and we'll bring that forth to council at some point in the future. But we've received the bulk of it, so. And that's all I have.
Sounds good. Any questions? None? You get off the hook. Yeah. So now we're going to go to our city attorney, Mr. Albright. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Just to continue what Mr. Blum was saying, yes, the city is entitled to receive two different checks related to the opioid settlement. Both of those checks were mailed at the same time, and so I've been in contact with the settlement administrator, and she had indicated that if we did not get the checks around the same time, that we could simply contact her and another check would be issued. Council's also in a receipt of several emails that I sent out yesterday, the first of which were some recommendations from the Ethics Board. I included those in an email showing the changes that the Ethics Board recommended changes that they passed at their last meeting in January. And with council's approval, I will add those to the next agenda for first reading. I also included a proposed ordinance along with that email, which would be then also added for a first reading. So if that's something or the direction that the council would like to go in, I can have that added by city administration for the next meeting. And if there's a general consensus.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any
thank
question?
you.
Okay. Councilwoman.
Mr. Albright, could you, for the sake of the community, refresh on why we received the opioid settlement and what those funds are proposed to be used for?
We received those funds along with other communities in the state of Michigan related to the opioid epidemic, and this was a settlement that was paid into a fund and then distributed based on a need basis to the various cities. This took place last year. We registered for that, and we received confirmation that we would be receiving a certain number, and so that's what's been distributed, and those funds will be utilized for the city for anything related to opioid addiction to other permissible actions by the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just to address the gentleman's concern about the Kmart property, we do have a consent agreement with the property owner to abate any nuisances there. So if it is a problem, just contact city administration, and they can send somebody out and clean it up and then just charge the property owner. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for our city attorney? All right, seeing none. Going to new business, the approval of the special event application, 24th Annual Gratiot Cruise, June 15th through the 17th, 2023. Council.
Mayor, I'll move we approve the 24th Annual Cruise and Gratiot event scheduled for June 15th through 17th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Next item is the membership with the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance. Council. Anyone like to speak on this or make a motion?
I'll make a motion now.
Okay.
I move that we authorize the city manager to submit the membership application and membership fee to the Metropolitan Detroit Black Business Alliance.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Mayor,
Yes.
before we vote, could, had one comment. I guess, so first of all, fantastic presentation. Sounds like a fantastic group for sure. My question is, are there benefits directly for Eastpointe businesses if we joined? Like, does every member, business of the community or something become a member, or?
I can let them up because that's why I was asked when they were up if you have any questions. Did you all want to personally, did you want to take it to the mayor? You guys want to come up, please? Thank you.
So we at the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance have a number of entities and institutions that join. And what that really does is allow us to bring what we're doing for the businesses into the city of Eastpointe. So opportunities for our Capital Connect program, doing walk-in Wednesdays here, like the tacos and Tuesdays that we talked about. So being able to be present and allow our benefits for Eastpointe businesses to participate in the Black Business Alliance. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You know what, because I know we have an extra space in Mr. Ian's office.
Yes.
Is there someone that can be here probably once every week or every 2 weeks so that if Black-owned businesses or people of Brown and, the community can come in and ask questions like a set date of the month?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay,
So
great.
we will do a
Okay,
pop-up,
you
and
already.
we'll actually be here tomorrow for the event that's on the calendar for tomorrow already. So
Okay, you
that's
were already
exactly-
thinking that. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, council? Concerns?
I had more of a comment.
Okay.
Make sure I speak into this mic. One of the things that I wanted to comment is just that, and Ian is probably better suited to say this, or even the city manager, but as a small community, we want to encourage small business development. When your small businesses thrive, your community thrives, and that's small businesses regardless of race. When your small businesses thrive, your community thrives. I appreciate your excellent presentation, but I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that, especially because Eastpointe is a smaller community of 34,000 residents, we want to make sure that we are thriving. And if you do any type of research on the benefits of small business development, what you find is that not only does it increase job opportunities in the locale, but it also generates revenue, which then increases your tax base, and it provides for improvement in the local infrastructure. And on top of that, you bring in innovative products and ideas that your community might not otherwise get. So there are a lot of benefits for the global city of Eastpointe in building up all of our small businesses, but particularly closing that gap in the disparity based on race for our businesses. Thank you.
We have motion and support. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
No.
Item C, the approval of the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve the special land use for the property located at 21145 Gratiot. We have our city planner, Ms. Mara B., for any questions, and she probably want to do a slight executive summary. Good evening, how are you?
Hi. I didn't know if I should wait to speak, or I think everyone can hear me though, so hello, everybody.
We want to, yeah, can you speak in the mic so that
Yes,
everything
hello.
is recorded? Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Amara Bratuszewski. I'm the city planner here for the city of Eastpointe. I've never formally met everyone in the same room before, but we're very active every first Thursday of the month if you want to attend a planning commission meeting. Also, we miss you over here, Commissioner Cobbs-Muñiz, but congratulations. And Mayor, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. So today, we have under consideration a special land use request for 21145 Gratiot. And the special land use request is to operate a medical marijuana provisioning center. And this is the first out of the 3 requests to operate a provisioning center in the city of Eastpointe. So I thought I'd do, like Mayor said, a brief overview of the process to operate a marijuana provisioning center and the special land use process, and what a special land use means. So the zoning ordinance allows up to 3 medical marijuana provisioning centers in the B3 General Business District. And on November 2nd, 2022, the city-appointed steering committee for medical marijuana selected 3 projects to move forward with a special land use request, and 21145 Gratiot is one of these projects under review today. So let's back up a little bit. The city's code of ordinances also requires a special land use to operate a medical marijuana provisioning center. And for everyone that's not a planner in the room, there's 3 types of uses within a city. So the first use is an automatically permitted by right use. And the second use is a non-permitted use. But a third use is a special land use that adds a little bit more discretion. It usually involves more of a intimate natured business that the city just needs a little bit more review over. So that's where we have our medical marijuana provisioning center uses under that category of special land use. And that's why we're here in front of council to discuss the special land use process. City Council has final authority over special land uses, and we use 8 standards of approval to understand if we want to approve or not approve the special land use request. The 8 standards are listed in the packet, but they have they reflect on the project to see if the project matches the master plan or helps with the improves the neighborhood or is harmonious with the existing character. These are the criteria that we use to evaluate and approve or disapprove a special land use. On a side note too, I just want to say that site plans are also required, and by Michigan state law, site plans are required in hand with a special land use request. But the Planning Commission already approved unanimously the site plan for 21145 Gratiot on our February 2nd meeting, and they also recommend unanimously to City Council approval. They recommend approval because you guys have the final say for the special land use. So in your packet, you received a memo that talks a little bit about the project and the special land use request. I just want to say, too, that the applicant, Holistic Health, who's in the room today to answer any questions, conveniently they're located right here, but they've been a great business partner throughout this process. They've been attentive and communicative, meeting deadlines, and just back and forth, updating their site plans accordingly. So I just want to represent that aspect of the process. So we've reviewed the special land use and site plan application to operate the medical marijuana provisioning center at 21145 Gratiot. And I was going to show my screen here, but I don't have a
remote control
access. I don't know if we want to see, Ian, if you could pull up 21145 Gratiot. if the planning commission, or I'm sorry, the city council wants to see the site a little bit more, but we do have a picture on the memo. So they're proposing to operate or to demolish the existing building and create a new building that will be their provisioning center. And then across the street, directly west of the site, is a vacant lot that they are converting into a parking lot and a memorial garden, memorial site to respect first responders and veterans of the city. So again, the site improvements for the actual provisioning center are providing 2 electrical charging stations, a mural along the south building facade, environmentally friendly design like solar roof panels and a white roof to aid reflectivity. They're also engaging in landscape improvements as required in the site plan review. And the anticipated investment of the provisioning center is about $2 million. Oh, thanks, Ian. So this is the existing site to the top photo, and it is proposed to be demolished and to create a building. This is a conceptual rendering, but this is the idea of what will be proposed, or what is proposed. So the provisioning center itself will be around $2 million investment. And then to the memorial site, the bottom photo, the memorial site includes an outdoor public space, parking, mature trees, a walking path, bike racks and benches. It will have a plaque honoring, like I said, Eastpointe fire, police, first responders, military, and veterans. And the anticipated investment is $135,000. Additional community benefits that this applicant has dedicated to this project are adopting flower beds and parks for hands-on contributions to the city's beautification efforts, contributing $50,000 annually to RARE, Cruise, the library, schools, and senior citizen centers, or the senior center. And they commit to performing 320 volunteer hours to Eastpointe specific charities and nonprofits. Bless you. So the planning department and the planning commission both offer a recommendation to approve the proposed special land use at the subject site. And we have a motion on page 5 that I can read. I don't need to read?
No.
Okay.
But thank you.
So I'm here to answer any other questions, and so is the applicant. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, well, stay right up there just in case council members have any questions.
If one of you could just get up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm attorney Dave Rudoy. I represent Holistic Health Wayne.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. I don't expect you to answer this question 100%, but what's your closest guesstimate that you'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony, that everything's done and you want to open the doors?
Approximately 6 months.
Really?
From approval, that's correct.
6 months from tonight?
6 months from tonight, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Good.
Any other questions? Councilwoman.
I have a couple of questions. How long, talking about community benefit here, how long are the annual contributions for? Are they indefinite?
The intention is in perpetuity.
Okay.
So as long as the business remains open in the city of Eastpointe, the intention is to continue the community benefits and be a good corporate citizen in the city.
So is it just based on the business remaining open or the business's profitability?
Well, the intention was once the business becomes profitable to, specifically with the $50,000 of charitable contributions, the other community benefits we intend on starting immediately.
Okay. And then what determines the factor of profitability? Like if you make how much, or how are we gauging profitability?
It would be just under general accounting principles. So essentially, like the period where we would be paying taxes and the business would be in the green, turning a profit.
Okay.
So as soon as that point starts.
And if you don't turn a profit then what's the benefit to our community?
So there still would be the 320 hours of community service. There still would be the donations towards the community garden. There still would be the memorial garden that would be built for the community. It still would be, I believe, a community benefit in constructing this new beautiful building compared to the building that was there before. We also would be, as I believe part of the motion, doing as far as the wall on that current parking lot, fixing that up. So all of that, essentially everything besides the financial contributions to the charities would start immediately upon opening. And we are promising to the city as long as we are in business. And obviously, we're intending on coming to profitability very quickly with this type of business. And the city limiting it to a specific number, we believe profitability will be coming very soon.
How quickly? You gave us the 6 months on how quickly you think that you could have the building up and ready to go, but how quickly do you anticipate it will happen that you will be profitable? Or do you have an estimation?
I unfortunately, I'm an attorney, I'm not very comfortable answering those specific numbers, and I wouldn't want to ever make a promise to the city or set an expectation without being able to back it up. But I can speak to other similar businesses that I represent similar businesses across the state of Michigan. And in my experience, generally, profitability within the first year of operation is extremely common. The business owners here with Holistic Health Wayne, they operate 8 other profitable businesses around the state of Michigan. So they do have a proven track record of running these businesses in a profitable manner. So I'm sure that their intention and their belief is that profitability will be gotten to within the first year. But I just wouldn't want to set any other expectations as I'm not I didn't go to law school because I'm good with numbers.
Well, no, my question was really based on the business sense of your client from the standpoint of their experience in the industry prior to coming to our city. And then I have just a couple more quick questions.
Sure.
Public access to the memorial. What is the thought process there? Is this something that the public can just freely walk in and enjoy?
100%, that's the intention. The memorial, it's added parking, obviously, if there's need for overflow parking for this business, but the intention really behind the memorial garden is that the public would be able to park at the memorial garden and utilize the space created. That's why there's bike racks and public space. Essentially, the majority of the land is for public space for the public's use.
Okay. Just as a final clarification on profitability, so pending that Holistic Health is able to get up off the ground and running within 6 months, and within a year from that, pending that they are profitable, the city can expect to see the community contributions come to fruition.
100%.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Morrow.
And thank you very much. And I would like to just say one thing. I've been through a lot of cities that handled medical marijuana regulations.
Mhm.
And I would just say, out of all the cities I've dealt with in the state of Michigan that handled this sort of thing, the process was done better here in Eastpointe than any other city that I've dealt with. And the city government has been just fantastic to work with.
Mayor, if I could ask one more
Yes,
clarifying
please.
question. Just to be clear, because I actually had someone locally who asked me this question today, and Ms. Brashevsky, and you know I'm gonna jack your name up, so feel free to get me back. This licensing, the licensing that this company has is only for medical marijuana, not recreational use, correct? Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. All good. Okay. Councilman?
I'm all set for a motion if we're
Sounds
at that
good.
point. Just have one item our attorney just wanted me to add into the recommended motion that's in the packet. So just move to adopt the recommendation of the Planning Commission and the findings captured in the planner's special land use review and approve the special land use for the property located at 21145 Gratiot Avenue.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz,
Abstain?
Mayor Owens.
No. And I also want to give credit to our Assistant City Manager, Ms. Holman, for all the work she has done to help with this planning commission and also the medical marijuana coming to our community. I've been saying no to this, so don't take offense. I've been saying no to this since it came about. We are a family town, so I just don't think medical marijuana fits with that. Now, I do know the assets of what medical marijuana can do to a lot of people that have illnesses and things like that, but also I know what it can do to harm other people. And so that is my job as the mayor to also look at the other things as well. So that is why, but thank you also for your contributions to this community. Thank you very much.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, because I know my stance has always has been a no as well, but knowing that you guys have followed all the guidelines legally, you're allowed to be here, and you met all the requirements is why, just for the record, I went on ahead and voted yes for it. But I've also not supported medical marijuana coming into the community, but knowing that all the guidelines and by ordinance and whatever other requirements are there, that you guys have met them. So that's the reason for those who may question why I voted yes on that.
Thank you, sir. Moving right along to item D, the recommendation and approval for a project for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Spark Grants Opportunity Application Round 2. We have, I know Ms. Holman has been working on this as well. And I know we put in for the first round, which was the Spindler Park improvements for the basketball court and also the splash pad, and was denied. So this is another chance for us to be innovative, to apply for a second round. And I was looking at 2 and 4. I don't think, no, I'm sorry, especially Shamrock Park, I don't think it has nothing there, right, Ms. Holman? The parks that have nothing. I would love to see something there. I know we talked about also having some workout equipment in some of those spaces. Because this grant application is for more recreation outside events, correct?
Correct, Mayor. This is for outdoor recreation in property owned by the... Is that better? Is that any better? Is that better? Okay.
That's better. Thank you.
Sorry about that. One of the things that we did notice with the results that just came in from the DNR, they had 460 applications requesting more than $280 million. It is very, very competitive. They awarded just under $15 million to 21 projects. All of us have reviewed those projects, as much information as they've given out so far, and it does seem that they are leaning towards projects that are either renovating, repairing, or replacing outdoor, whether it be equipment or things like that. But it does not seem that there are projects that were awarded brand new. I don't know if it's sort of that they are feel more justified in awarding money when something needs repair. A reason why we put the tennis court and some of the other improvements in Spindler Park on there, versus something that's brand new that may be more of a wish list rather than a need to repair. So that is why we wanted to bring that to council's attention. We did list a couple of projects, Spindler Park improvements, the tennis courts, of course, perhaps a basketball court, and definitely increased lighting Also, the disc golf needs some polishing. I know a lot of the markers have disintegrated, and even some of the, I don't know what they call them, nets, baskets. Kennedy Park, it was something that had been, during the first round of this grant that council had talked about, a walking path to increase accessibility and putting some outdoor exercise stations. You know, if the council wanted to go with something new, an all-inclusive playground at Fairlane Park behind Kepsel. There's really nothing back there. Shamrock has nothing. There were some soccer fields, but again, to make it more of a destination, not just an open green space. The other option would be a bike path in the city's right-of-way going from along Stevens from Spindler Park to Kennedy Park, so that families could move between the two parks. Again, walking or biking. But those are some of the things we had suggested.
Okay. But yeah, with the Shamrock Park improvement, I was saying, if I'm standing across the street from a park, just me, I don't want to hear soccer playing or loud, you know. That's why I was saying probably something more, a recreational that is more quiet. Like I said, the workout equipment, I know we all as a council talked about that. But now in Kennedy Park, since it's bigger and it's a little distance from the residential area and the houses, possibly, you know, doing something like that. Council, how do you feel?
As a mom of a soccer player and a soccer coach, I take a little bit of issue in my heart. I'm one of those soccer parents that's out there loud and proud. That notwithstanding, it appears that based on the information that's presented to us, that they are really looking to give grants for enhancements, for renovations. They keep, it's kind of repeated over and over again, redevelopment and renovation, and doing it not just for a public space, but projects that provide for re-engineering. And so when I look at that against the list that has been provided to us, it seems like our energy might be better spent asking administration to apply for the grant with respect to Spindler Park to do the court repairs and replacement of the basketball courts and lighting, because those are redevelopments and improvements. And it seems like this grant is specifically geared towards that, towards improving as opposed to adding something wholly new.
Yeah. Councilman DeMonico, I know you had your hand up when I was down this way, and then I'll do Councilman.
Sure, thanks, Mayor. My first question was, did it seem like, Ms. Holman, that the winners had these items already in like a recreational master plan or some sort of city document like prior to the Spark grants being released?
We are not privy to that much detail about what was awarded. I've not personally gone to look at the master plans for the different cities. We were basing it on some, there were some online meetings regarding the fact that Southeast Michigan did not really get any awards at all noticeably. And so, and then again, these things such as improvements, enhancements, replacement, words that are in a lot of the titles.
And can we submit the same project again?
That would be up to council to do that. Different entities that we've talked to who are also applying and or related, word is that it's not the best suggestion since it was turned down the first time. I know that this council had been interested in a splash park. I believe there were a large number of splash parks or water parks that were applied, and I think only one that was being refurbished down in Trenton received an award.
I guess on Councilwoman Cobb Muni's, what she was saying about Spindler, I get the tennis court repair. Where would the basketball court go for Spindler then?
I think if I recall, this mention of it, I guess you're facing Patriot Building, I believe, what would that be, west of it, southwest-ish. I believe is what was discussed. And I don't recall if that was at the Parks Commission meeting. I've been hearing a lot about the stuff for a while. But I think that was kind of the general area, if I recall correctly, but I could be mistaken.
Okay, so renovate the 4 tennis courts and then probably try to add another basketball court, of course, in the city would be the first one.
Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Hello, Councilman.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, looking at Spindler Park, if any of those who play tennis, I don't play tennis, but there's a lot of people who do, and those tennis courts need a lot of tender loving care over Spindler Park. And one other thing that's there is, I'm going to probably say the wrong thing, so somebody raise their hand if I do, a frisbee golf. Okay, disc golf. At disc golf, and if you've been over there in the summertime, just sitting there, you wouldn't believe the amount of people who come over there to play disc golf. I mean, they're professionals. In fact, they have a league over there. They bring these bags, and the smaller the disc, the closer you are to where you're supposed to throw it into. But some of the poles and the place where you stand is beginning to deteriorate because it's been used so often. So I would hope that maybe, it's not on there, but I would like to see that added to number 1, since that's Spindler Park, to repair the disc golf.
I'm just looking at the, which Ms. Holman just brought up, and I don't want to wait too long on this. But after this motion, I'm going to do a 5-minute, so we can take a break, if council doesn't mind. On here, it says Spindler Park improvements and also the Stevens bike path was denied. I just don't want us to miss out on this opportunity by reapplying for a grant, which I know Councilman DeMonico thought that was a pretty good idea, and then we're going back to the improvements, and then we're losing out on a grant. She already marked the ones that were not approved, so why are we going back to add to the improvements on Spindler Park when we have parks that people, a better quality of life and economic development is developing things that are not there. And Shamrock Park, like I said before, has been, since I've been here, has nothing in it. Who wants to stay across the street from a park with nothing? That's depressing. So, we should try to do something in these parks where people can, have their kids sit at a bench or want to read a book or want to work out or just want to take a walk in the park, or, they spend their tax money here, and I don't want to keep applying. Spindler Park has a lot of different amenities there. I like Spindler Park, and other places have different amenities, but we can look for grants in the future to fix those things up. But what about the people who have been waiting years after years for something to be developed in their neighborhood? That's all I'm saying.
Madam Mayor, just for clarification, it was my understanding that the grant was denied for the splash pad at Kennedy Park, not improvements at Spindler.
Yeah, I denied that too because I knew we wasn't going to win that.
But I guess I'm trying to understand, did we have another denial that I'm not aware of pertaining to Spindler Park?
It's just not for this one, but she just put in the splash pad and other things. But I think to be more innovative, and do something new to recreate something that's never been there. So I think we all have the same vision but different goals to get there. And so I'm just saying, put something where there's nothing at. And, just like we repairing the streets, we can't do reconstruction, we have to do something. So I just want us to do something that's bare to nothing, that's all.
Madam Mayor, I agree with you wholeheartedly that I think that we want to bring as many new projects, and especially in areas of the city that are barren. I think where I have reserve in doing that pertaining to this, and where I feel like our efforts would be futile, is that this particular grant speaks directly to redeveloping something that is already existing. So, and it's talking about making improvements to something that's already existing, and throughout the whole grant, it's repeating itself over and over again, that this is not for new projects, but to develop what's already been in existing but needs to be improved and updated, which is the only reason why I would say if we're going to make a motion for city management to, or administration to put forth another grant, that they would put it forth towards something that we could be guaranteed to have a fighting chance of getting that. But I agree with you that we need to invest and look for other grants where we could be more innovative, especially for those parks where there is nothing. I agree.
Right, I thought Ms. Holman said we can do some new development in those parks that have nothing.
I do have a question, Madam Mayor.
Can she answer this real quick first?
After she gets done, now, that's who I want to ask the question.
Okay,
We had listed both options, Mayor.
okay,
We listed a couple of ideas for new projects,
Okay.
and of course, there's always the splash pad, and then a couple of ideas for improvements, specifically improvements or replacements or enhancements, which seem to be words that they have used in both their notice of funding and in a lot of the titles of the projects.
okay. Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, thank you. The question I had, are we limited to having to pick one or two or three or four? We can't combine any of them
It has to be one project in one park, so there's
in
three
one
rounds.
location?
In one location, so there's 3 rounds. The first round was the proposed splash park over at Kennedy. This is the second round that will be opening, we think they told us by the end of March. And then there will be a third round of funding probably middle of the summer. So in total, council will pick 2 more projects for a total of 3.
So we have one more to go
Yes,
after this.
yes, sir.
And that might be, Madam Mayor, where we would concentrate on Shamrock Park. I pass that up 20 times every day, and there's absolutely nothing there. But, you know, the next round, we could put a pavilion in there and a walking path, and that would be good.
I think so too. Councilman.
Just one clarification about, I was just asking to know our possibilities about if we should about putting the same project in again. I didn't necessarily have an opinion yet.
Okay.
I just want to know our possibilities. And then Spindler, well, I guess some of these parks, or not Spindler, sorry, Shamrock Park, a lot of soccer, talking about soccer, a lot of soccer's been, I think they fit, 3 or 4 fields on there for the young kids at one point in time. Again, we have like 20 baseball diamonds in the city, and those certainly are not used. Not all of them, obviously. Probably a couple of them. So but just if it looks like there's nothing, could be like we have fields there, and then a lot of grass doesn't look. If there's no paint there anymore or whatnot. And I guess to Ms. Federley, our sole commenter at the public hearing. A lot of time was put in for the recreation master plan. I guess I don't know specifically your question about if children were asked, in the school district or whatnot, but a lot of different people were, stakeholders were questioned, and a ton of time was put together to put that plan. We are getting close to the end of it, though. It's like 2020 to 2024, so we should start thinking about the next plan, because some of it we've of course already accomplished, and then some of it I think is probably things we might not want to go in that direction any longer. And I guess it all ties into what we're talking about right now, of course. But I think I like, I guess, number 1, if we're trying to come up with a certain thing. I guess I wouldn't mind hearing or maybe administration coming up with some more, or what's the maximum amount again? 1 million's the
Yes,
maximum?
1 million. This is a one-time, and there's no matching, which is huge.
So, because I guess that wouldn't even probably add up to $1 million, what's in number 1, and then we mentioned disc golf, and if you're gonna go playing with them, Mr. Curley, you better get the lingo right.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can just add more to that, I guess, or whichever item, council's going towards.
Councilwoman. If I may, I would like to make a motion that we authorize city administration to apply for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Spark Grant application round 2 for Spindler Park, as stated with the stated improvements, and to direct the city attorney to prepare a resolution as required by the DNR for approval.
Would that include the Frisbee?
The disco.
Yes, including, let me
it's-
clarify, including tennis court repair, replacement, adding a basketball court, increased lighting, and/or disc golf.
I'll second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Mayor, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Make one question. Well, since it hasn't even been announced yet, could we vote for them to go in that direction, bring back maybe some other ideas at a future meeting, and then maybe set something in stone? Because I guess, there could be a lot of different details for all the different 5 things. Just more of a, let's go in that direction, come back to council again.
Instead of voting today?
Yeah, instead of just setting it in stone right now, just those 3 things, I guess, because with that motion, are we not allowing for potentially something else, or?
When does the grant have to be in? Sorry.
Mayor, they're telling us right now at the end of March, they'll be opening it up. What do you think? How long was, the last application period wasn't very long. We do have a little bit of time.
Okay.
I mean, to get, and I'm assuming that council wants us to go for as much as we can in the million.
Yeah, it's the round one funding, it was about a month that they gave us to do that application. That's our understanding, is that in late March that they would open up round 2, so my guess would be sometime in the later part of April that those applications would be due, but that gives us plenty of time to where we could, if that's the direction council wants to go, is to look at Spindler Park, we could look and do some cost estimating to see what it would cost for those items and whether we want to add even more to try, because it seems like they're awarding larger projects closer to that $1 million threshold, so whether there's other items at that park that could be included in that too, or whether we're over the amount, but I think where we're at, we could definitely fit that within $1 million, but we could definitely come back at the next council meeting to let you know where we're at and see if there's any other ideas at that park we could include as well.
I like that idea. I also like the idea of the residents that are in the vicinity of these ideas and these projects, to hear what they have to say. I would like to know what the neighbors who live across the street from Shamrock Park have to say, how long they've been living there, what they like to see, what their opinion is, and things like that, because it's going to be affecting them. So I would like to get some letters out, maybe get them to come to the hearing of the public. I don't know how you reached out to the residents who live around those areas of those parks and see what they want for their children.
I got a question. Even if we go ahead and approve it today, because I know we got motion and support, but then if administration finds that there are some more things that we can add to it, are we able to update it before it's submitted? Like if you guys say, hey, we can do this. Because I guess I would feel more comfortable just doing that. It's there. I don't know, for some strange reason they say, hey, you got to submit it by tomorrow, which I'm sure won't happen. At least we have it there in motion, and then if nothing happens before our next council meeting and there are some ideas that you guys have, could you bring them back to us, and then we can always update it to add this to. And then I think that would just give us a safety net either way.
And if I could add to that, I think as much as possible, we don't want to unduly burden our administration. This is not the only project that they're working on. And so as much leeway as we can give them, I think it's our responsibility as council to do that. And I would agree with Mr. Baker, if we have to come back later and revise, I would rather do that, but at least get the ball rolling so that administration is not down to the last wire trying to put it together.
Mayor, if I may? Yes. So, and part of the direction would be that we actually have to draft a resolution. City attorney drafts that based on the language and the cost. So understanding you guys' direction tonight, Ryan Kern would be able to, with the city administration, put plans together and estimated cost, but it does come back before council to approve the resolution. And if at that point there are more ideas after engagement with community or that council comes up with that can be added at that time for the resolution before we move forward.
Okay, thank you. Councilman DeMonico? You raised your hand up.
Yep.
Okay, Councilman Curley.
Well, while we're talking about this and trying to think of other ideas to put there, I know Spindler has a asphalt little walking trail, really not that big. But if anybody ever went to Spindler Park and walked the entire property, that goes all the way back, you have. Yeah, we picked up garbage there, didn't we?
Yeah,
Goes all the way up to the end of the gas station. So if we're talking about walking paths, that would be, I think that we could add that. That would be terrific. Because I went over there during the summer and I went around that little circle about 20 times and I said, well, okay, I guess that was it. But wouldn't it be nice to have one all the way down?
Nice.
So we haven't spent $1 million yet, have we?
Might be at 2 now, but I don't know. No, that's, we can definitely take a look at that too, see what it would cost.
Yeah,
to
take a
extend
look at that.
path.
That's, just keep out of the people's garden back there. They'd be all right.
Any more conversation, opinions on this? Let's move right along. A motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
No.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. We're going to do a 2-minute recess. 2-minute recess, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. Was it 8? Let's do 3 minutes, since I give everybody else 3 minutes. So,
How long is the recess?
recess, 3 minutes.
It takes 4 minutes to walk down to the bathroom, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Baker and Councilman Burley. We should be able to roll through the rest of this stuff.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Fine.
Guarantee you won't run this tonight?
That's, I just screwed my knee up.
So then my son said, Google Microsoft's number because it's a scam. So I did.
Oh,
It was a scam. So my computer is now.
Sorry, I guess that
my
was
sister's friend.
5 instead of 3 minutes.
And she's like, you can't believe I had an attorney 3 times now, 6 times. They were so sweet. So all of my.
All right, we have all the council administration here. All right, we are back in session. We are going to item E, engineering proposal for the 2023 asphalt resurfacing program. And we have Mr. Ryan Kern, if you want to do a short briefing on that so our residents can get some understanding. If they already, some already know about what's going on and some don't. So a brief summary, please.
Will do. This is based upon the money that was transferred at the last council meeting, the ARPA funding transferred over to be spent on the local road program. We took a look at all of the asphalt streets in the city that were rated a 1 through 4 in the last PASER evaluation that was done in 2020. Took a look at those streets and identified which streets would be good candidates for an asphalt resurfacing program. If you recall, the last time we did a resurfacing program was in 2020 where we did 3 different streets and that was a pretty successful project. We're looking at, most of those streets were in the south end of the city, north of 8 Mile between Gratiot and Kelly. We're looking this year to do, streets we're doing here. Ego from Cushing to Shakespeare, Juliana from Virginia to Shakespeare, and Sprenger from Boulder to Shakespeare as the project for this year, which is just under $1 million as the construction cost.
Okay, sounds good. Councilwoman.
I do have a question. Turn my mic on, that would be helpful. What is the potential impact financially to the city if we don't do something about these streets now? Like if we were to say, well, let's wait another year.
Now, if we continue to wait to do anything with these streets, they continue to deteriorate further. Eventually, they're going to need a full reconstruct. I think it included in the packet, there was a summary of costs in there that does show the difference between doing a resurfacing now or doing a full reconstruct. It's more than twice the cost to do a full reconstruct or to make it a new concrete road. So, you know, obviously if we can do the resurfacing now and save the road, resurfacing is about a 15 to 20 year design life. Concrete reconstruct obviously is going to be longer, about a 35-year design life, but you know, resurfacing definitely is going to cost a lot less money.
And if we had to do a total reconstruction, do we have a plan for where that money could come from, or do we know at this point where that money would come from?
No, on the local road end, the Act 51 money that the city receives is very minimal. We've not been able to do a local reconstruction project here. Really the only time we're able to do a local reconstruct is if we get funding from another source, whether it be CDBG, which we've done in the last few years, but CDBG is only $150,000 per year, so that doesn't get us very far. We're able to do one short block. You know, we're about 0.3 miles basically out of the 100 total miles of roads that we have in the city.
And all of these are CDBG ineligible?
That is correct. Yes, we also looked at the streets that were ineligible for CDBG.
Sounds good, Council.
I'd like to make a motion, Madam Mayor, to approve the 2023 asphalt resurfacing program engineering proposal from AEW dated February 9th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and support, Councilman DeMonico.
Mayor, just a comment. Same comment I've had for a few years now. We discussed over the years I don't see Otis out there yelling at me. Sorry, let me say that again. Over the last few years, we've talked about doing concrete versus the asphalt, and I've my personal opinion is that we do the concrete. It is more expensive, as Mr. Kern said, as we've talked about, than the asphalt. But in terms of it lasting longer and is easier to maintain, we do the $700,000 a year right now to do the patchwork on the concrete streets. Not as easy to, maintain the asphalt roads. I just have been of the opinion, we do less roads, of course, but we do them as concrete. So I'll be voting against this. I think we're just going to create kind of the same issue like 15 years down the road for that city council. The asphalt will start to, go away, and we'll be patching it up. And, you've seen, there's still some of the streets left, of course, with a lot of patch on top of patch. And so I guess that's just, in general, my opinion. Instead of doing the asphalt, I just think that we just need to keep doing with the CDBG funds or other funding, concrete. So that is all.
So you're saying no?
Correct.
That means no.
Can I ask a question of clarification?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Because I'm the newbie, so I'm trying to fully understand. So what would you propose in the interim if we don't have a potential source for funding a total reconstruction? And even if these were CDBG eligible, which they are not, at best, we're only talking about a half a block as opposed to 6 blocks. What is our solution for our residents in the meantime? Because you're talking about another 5, 10, 15, 20 years before we would even have the funds available to do a total reconstruction. So what's our option for them in the meantime?
Sure. So for like the PACER, the 1 through 10 system, if anyone's familiar with that, basically just 1's a bad road, 10's a good road. You can check out the map for that. I think in the long term, if we look at like 100-year view, and I guess I don't know if Mr. Kern would maybe have an idea on this. I believe it'll be cheaper, and then a couple decades down the way here, we'll be set up to we'll just keep going and have a higher PACER rating, which means better streets in the city, as opposed to if we do this now and we do the asphalt, we're going to have to revisit it again in 15 years as opposed to going to a new one. So the plan that we've been doing for a few years we've done a couple asphalt projects. I think we did like a block, well, not a block and a half, 2 sections of 2 streets in like 2017-ish, and then we did a lengthy section on 1 street and 2 other blocks on 2 other streets in 2020, but other than that, we've done concrete. And so for the ones with the very low PACER ratings, we can't do the patchwork. We can't. We need to just keep as good as possible until we have that funding. But then with that $700,000 we use a year to patch the concrete streets, we can keep those 4 or higher, and 4, I think my street's considered a 3 or 4, and I don't think we need to do anything on it right now. So like the 3s or 4s are drivable, much better shape and higher. We can keep them there as opposed to falling into the 1s and 2s. Keep all them there and then do these sections of road that are not as good. I guess then 2 questions to try and answer even better. The PACER 1s or 2s, out of the 100 miles of road in the city, Mr. Kern, do you know how many miles roughly?
I don't have that number on me roughly. I could get you that number, but as far as the 1s and 2s, it's somewhere around 5 to 7 miles of roadway. I would say it's not a very high number. That's 1s or 2s. 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s is the majority of the system.
Yeah, so I think we'll just be visiting them again then in 15 years to put a new asphalt cap on again. That's why I go towards concrete. And then what was the other, over like 100-year view, if you did concrete versus asphalt and we do that maintenance program. And I guess question two then would be on asphalt maintenance. Obviously, there's patching, and I drove down quite a few roads over this weekend just to look at everything again before we voted on this. The patching gets messy after the road for sure has been a long time since we've touched it. But for the more recent ones, like the 2017 or 2020 roads we did that are asphalt, how can we maintain those to make sure that we're not doing a bunch of patchwork? Can we do the tar in the
Yeah, so you do
cracks
joint
and-
sealing from time to time on those streets. I mean, over time, you could do another mill and fill, which is not very expensive. Where, with this program, we're doing the concrete base repairs. You could do a mill and fill and not be doing base repairs in the future. But yeah, over time, we would be looking at doing joint crack sealing to maintain these streets, and that's very cheap to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at the estimations that you've given us, Mr. Kern, I see that even if we were to take one of these streets and do a concrete reconstruction, it would take the majority of the budget that you are requesting to do essentially 6 blocks, 3 different sections of the city, and at least get it to some repairable usage for the next 15 or 20 years, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So-
Based on the pricing with concrete reconstruct, you're looking at that's construction cost only, just over $500,000 per block, basically.
Right. And this is with you not only taking off that asphalt layer, but repairing the concrete plates that are underneath that need repairing.
That's correct. So our estimate does include up to 30% cross-sectional area for concrete base repairs, which is a pretty significant amount. That's a conservative number. So, I mean, in the end, we may find that it's not that high. We may not have as many base repairs as what we're estimating here.
And I think my struggle with putting it off is I still haven't heard at what point we would garner enough finances to be able to finance a concrete reconstruction of all of these 3 areas within any reasonable time frame. And in the meantime, that means that we have residents who are struggling to get out of their driveways in inclement weather. We have residents whose vehicles are needing additional repair at their own expense because of the deterioration of the street right in front of their homes. And I don't know how we rectify that by waiting, but.
We got a motion and support. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
No.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Thank you for pointing all those things out, Councilwoman, so our residents can get a better understanding. Thank you. Moving right along to item F, approval of DTE street lighting agreement. Council.
Mayor, I would move that we authorize the city manager to execute all necessary agreements for DTE street lighting proposal for 9 Mile, Gratiot to West City limits.
I'll second that. I had one quick question or clarification. Is this for all the lines, or are we just talking just electric lines?
This is just for the street lighting on the south side of 9 Mile. So all the wire, wood poles, wiring on the south side would disappear. The north side, all the utilities, overhead utilities on the north side would remain.
Boo, I thought this was something different then. So that's like what we've talked about, I guess, over time for this, not additional lines being buried from what we've maybe talked about before, really.
Correct, yeah. This is just the street lights on the south side of 9 Mile.
We still think it's like $1 million a mile or something like that?
Easily, if not more. Yeah.
Thanks.
I do have one quick question. And I won't be the question person all night, but what is the IESNA recommended practice? What is that? I see a reference to it in the application on page 2 of the purchase agreement. Number 10. You can let me know later.
Yeah, that I don't have an answer. I don't know what that acronym stands for. I'm sure it's some sort of electrical association. There's probably specifications per that organization that they're following.
If Google's correct, Illuminating Engineering Society of North America.
That would fit it.
Sorry, I just didn't know why that was there, why it was important. Thank you.
We have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Next item is item G, discussion and review of the IT contract. Ms. Walton, did you want to speak on this briefly?
Absolutely. The city is currently in contract with Expert Technology Services. I received notification on February 14th that the vice president of the organization had resigned. At this point, we are still not aware of any additional staff that the organization has. We've actually had to utilize outside resources to find someone to come in and assist, and today was the first day. I know I spoke with Mr. Albright about this on Friday, and he was going to touch base. Do you have an update, or did you make contact?
I've not been able to meet the individual that I said I would speak with.
Thank you. And then I've also contacted the organization's phone number that is online, and it's redirected to the Southgate Police Department, as that is another contract that they previously had. So we're asking to implement item 9, termination for convenience of the information technology managed services, and authorize myself to put a bid out for IT services for the city.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion of the same, that we implement item 9, termination for convenience of the information technology managed services contract signed January 24th, 2022, and authorize the city manager to go out to bid for IT services.
A second.
Motion, yes.
Mayor,
sir.
sorry, yeah, and I have a question too about this, just real quick. Like, so do we have, well, and I think, sorry, let me go down to the page where it is. So 9's like the termination clause, but then we're talking about, I guess, two things. Is any of this, like what's going on with this company in writing to us at all, or would you suggest it like be in writing? I guess I'm asking that just because I know we got an email with a little bit of information, but just want to make sure we're all 100% on the same page between us and the contractor. And then, are we doing this transition responsibilities, I guess, which would be number 10, up to 90 days for him to help, because I think it sounded like that was a possibility.
So item 8 actually highlights another option for termination. My recommendation is not to follow through with that, as we do not have a contact to serve notice to. Item 9 highlights termination for convenience, which allows the city to terminate for convenience based on the circumstances and us being unable to make contact with anybody. That would be my recommendation to move forward with. We also can't contact anyone for any transfer of responsibilities. So we're at a point where we have to terminate the contract for convenience and to not enter into any pending litigation that they have going on for an estate for the president that passed away over of the organization. My recommendation is to utilize and implement item 9, terminate the contract, and we go out to bid for services.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, based on my review and through no fault of the city, this contract is impossible to perform. So that is why city administration is making this recommendation.
Or the company can't fulfill its obligation.
There's an impossibility of performance.
But you mentioned that, well, because obviously we don't really have a contractor right now, but Mr. Berta said via his new firm, like in your email to us, that he could assist in the meantime.
That's correct. So Expert Technologies does not have any employees that we're aware of that we can make contact to. Tyler Berter was the previous vice president. When I reached out to make contact with him, he was at a new firm and felt that he may be able to, depending on the decision tonight, offer services to Eastpointe in the meantime of us going out to bid based on the circumstances.
Oh, so, okay. I think I've clarified my own question. Sorry. I get it now. We're going to terminate particularly with this company. 10 would only be if it was with the same company. This would be a difference. I see. Okay. Sorry. All set. questions are answered.
Sounds good. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Item H, discussion and approval of the Eastpointe Excellent Awards. This was brought up last council meeting by our councilwoman, Cobb Muniz. Yes, ma'am. You want to speak on this?
As you see in your packet, we had talked about at last council meeting about having Eastpointe Excellence Awards. The objective being to recognize and honor dedicated public servants for outstanding leadership, civic involvement, and exemplary contributions to the Eastpointe community. City Council can do this on either a rolling acceptance basis for nominations, or they could require submission for a particular time, and I've given a suggestion of maybe like October 1st through November 30th of the calendar year, with the award presentation occurring at the first council meeting the following January. Of course, if you accept applications on a rolling basis, then you could also make presentations on a rolling basis. I have put in, along with city administration, we worked together and put together two different options for nomination for the Eastpointe Excellence Awards. The first with respect to boards and commission members, being that the board and commission would nominate and add a nomination for Excellence Award to their agenda. The board and commission would have a formal vote and submit that nomination for consideration. That written nomination would then be submitted to the city manager's office, and it would have to include a detail of the service and the reason for the nomination. And then the city manager would provide those nominations to council, and then the mayor and council or council could add that nomination to an upcoming agenda for presentation of the award. The criteria being that the commission or board members' service must be for either a completion of their full term or 5 years of service. The board or commission member must be nominated by a majority of the board and commission putting forth the nomination, and all nominations must detail specific examples of exemplary service and contributions to the excellence of Eastpointe. There's also an option for an employee award nomination, because our employees are working hard every day to make sure that our city runs as a well-oiled machine. And so nominations would be accepted through the city manager's office. The city manager or assistant city manager would provide award nomination to city council, and then mayor and or city council or a city council member could add it to an upcoming city council agenda for presentation of the award. And then the criteria for that would be that all employee nominations must have a permanent position within the city of Eastpointe or have served at least 5 years with the city, and all nominations must, again, give detail of specific examples of their exemplary service.
I can make a motion on it if everybody's ready.
Ready.
Okay, I move that we move forward with this Eastpointe Excellence Awards program as outlined in our packet to meet the following criteria that Councilwoman Cobb Muniz just explained to us. One for boards and commission members and the other for employee nominations.
Do you have a recommendation for timing, whether it's rolling or a specific time frame?
I would be comfortable saying rolling if that's how it comes in, because I think that would make it just simple. We're not waiting and putting stuff on the shelf, forgetting about it.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
There,
Councilman.
a couple questions. I guess, Ms. Cobb Muniz, for the first one, the employee, or not first one, sorry, second one, I guess, the employee awards. Why would we not have Ms. Walton, I guess, just set it up however she'd like, and then if we want to highlight them at a council meeting, we can do that whenever, she puts it on the agenda. I guess like in the past, we did, and I think we did only do this for 1 year, and then Mr. Duchesne was no longer our city manager, did a Distinguished Resident Service Award to Lori Hicks, and a Public Service Achievement to Tony Cry, and a Professional Service Award to Joe Zangara. Mr. Duchesne brought him forward, did it. obviously, he'd know, or Ms. Walton's gonna know, what employees should get awards. Do we need, like, why do we,
Well, I'll let her address this, but from my perspective, I think we want to encourage residents of the city to appreciate those who are serving our city, whether it's on a board, commission, or in their regular course of employment. And, you know, for myself, before coming on board to council, before even being on a board or commission, I tried to make it my regular practice, and especially even more so now, to tell our employees and those serving on our boards and commission, thank you. But that thank you could go a whole lot farther if our council also formally recognized them, especially those who have exemplary service. So my thinking in this was that we as council would take a more active role in saying to our residents, this is an opportunity for us to appreciate those who are serving us. But Ms. Walton I worked with administration on this. I didn't hear any objection to it, but Ms. Walton.
Thank you, Councilmember. Yes, I'd agree. I appreciate you taking the time coming in, researching it ahead of time. We worked on it together. I agree with the process that was put together. I stand by it. I also agree with your sentiments tonight. We have absolutely incredible employees, and just relying on two people, no matter who's in the position, to acknowledge the employees, even just to say three employees in the past 10 years, we have some incredible members. I mean, Deputy Chief Merlo in the back, absolutely incredible and absolutely deserves an award with all of his initiatives and things that happens within the community. He's also made incredible contributions, whether it's with the school and the Detectives Bureau, at the prosecutor's office. So there are other avenues outside of my direct connection with them where people could nominate someone. Many other communities also have the same process where there's an online system where residents, stakeholders in the community, even outside the community, can make contact and share that information and feedback about an employee. So I think it's an absolutely great program that you've put together, and I support exactly how it's written.
And the last thing I'll say is I think by having a formal program like this and not leaving the onus on the city manager, it erases the opportunity for people to proclaim bias. For them to say that she's biased in her determinations because she supervises the city employees. So by making a more formal process that city council was involved in, it removes the opportunity for someone to allege, oh, she just gave that out because she liked it.
well, she's the director of all
Yes.
employees, so that's why I was exactly why I was suggesting she should do it. But are you saying then step 3, any mayor or council member adds to then, so a nomination comes in and just any one of the 5 of us adds the?
In the same way that we receive nominations for boards and commissions, and city management administration sends those over to us, we look them over. For those that are available for council and the mayor to make a nomination about, then we put that forward. We say, hey, can you add to the agenda? I would like to add this person for a board or commission and allow council to vote on it. It's kind of the same process in that either the mayor or council can add to an upcoming council agenda the presentation of the award.
Well, so with the board and commission members, we vote on them, like you said, we're not voting on them.
This
so
isn't a
we would
voting on
just-
it, this is, yeah.
Any member of city council can bring one of the nominations forward, and we just put it on the agenda and then recognize it.
Yes, as long as it goes through the process.
Sounds good.
We got motion and support.
Oh, okay, so
Are
we're
you
just
still-
gonna.
Are you,
I don't know why everyone's being like this. all
Being
right?
like what? Being like
You're
what?
like cutting me off here. I'm not even.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
done
didn't hear you say anything. My intention was not to cut you off.
Okay.
My apologies if that's what you thought, but I didn't hear a voice coming out of your mouth at that moment when I said it sounded good, and that's merely just my opinion of it.
And then we've done proclamations for board and commission members in the past. And so, I don't know why we wouldn't do that in the future, I guess. So, and then this is just from October 1st to November 30th would be the submission date.
I believe the motion was for rolling submission.
That's correct. That's how I made my motion.
Because there
So
were
then
two
it can be at
options.
any point.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All done.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
No.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Excellent idea, Councilwoman. Item I, approval of tattoo parlor license, Splatter House Tattoo Parlor LLC, Council.
Mayor, I move that we approve the tattoo parlor license for Splatterhouse Tattoo Parlor LLC located at 18810 9 Mile.
Support.
Motion and support.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Item J, approval of attendance of Councilmember Communities for the upcoming 2023 MML Capital Conference
So
dated
moved.
April 18th through 19th.
So moved.
I second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Item K, the resolution for the Women's Clinic. Did you want to speak shortly on this? I think you did already. Attorney Albright?
Madam Mayor, I'm happy to address this. This is a resolution to vacate that portion of the alley behind the Women's Clinic on 8 Mile Road. Last year, the owner of the property requested that alley be vacated. That request has gone through administrative review. The engineer is recommending that this take place. What this resolution does is it tentatively approves the alley vacation. It actually doesn't vacate the alley, but it tentatively approves it, subject to the scheduling of a public hearing. And we're requesting that public hearing take place at the second meeting in March. It's March 21st. Initially, we were hoping for the first meeting in March, but a copy of this resolution also needs to be included in the public notice. So to comply with the city's charter, a copy of this resolution, if passed tonight, would then be subject to the public notice, and then the public would have an opportunity to appear at the second meeting in March to voice their opinion regarding whether the alley should be vacated by the council or not.
Council, any comments, concerns? If not,
Mr. Albright, did you want us to, since that one, well, I think I'd suggest we just read it real briefly, just because it's not in the agenda packet.
That would be fine. It would not take that long.
Yeah, just a couple paragraphs. The proposed resolution from the city attorney is a resolution to vacate alley as requested by Molson 97 LLC, subject to the dedication of a public easement and scheduling the matter for a public hearing. Whereas Chapter X, Section 2, the City of Eastpointe Charter provides for the vacation of streets, alleys, and public grounds located within the city. Whereas Chapter 38, Article 2, Section 38-28 further provides the procedure for the vacation of streets, alleys, and public grounds in the city upon the filing of a written petition. Whereas Molson 97 LLC, a Michigan domestic limited liability company, has filed an application with the city to vacate a certain alley adjacent to 15921 East 8 Mile Road in conjunction with building renovations and the proposed construction of security fencing with gates. Whereas all that part of the east and west 20-foot wide public alley to be vacated is located northerly of and adjacent to property, which is legally described as follows. The north part's a lot, well, here's the legal description. It's a lot of numbers and stuff. It's the same as in the other one that everyone on council has. Whereas a proposed alley vacation request has been reviewed and approved by the city's planner, the city's engineer, subject to the reservation of an easement for public utilities. Now therefore it is resolved that the city of Eastpointe deems it advisable to vacate the subject alley, and further that this matter shall be scheduled for a public hearing on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 to hear any objections thereto.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
I guess
Councilman?
motion to approve that red motion, or red resolution would be the motion.
Okay, support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Communis.
Yes.
Okay, we're at payroll and bills, council.
Madam Mayor, I would move to pay the bills and payroll of $2,386,344.86.
I'll second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Communis,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Next is the second hearing of the public. The second hearing of the public is now open.
Hi, Cindy Federle again. I have a couple of comments about what you discussed about Shamrock Park and possible soccer fields. Being a soccer grandma, I've gone to many local soccer fields where the parking is a disaster if you have several games going on, and Shamrock Park does not have a parking lot, so that could be something to keep in mind. For the grant, is it possible to maybe improve the playground equipment at Spindler Park to make it handicapped accessible? That might be something that I think is something we need to have. And the next thing I want to talk about is the medical marijuana licenses. I'm a strong supporter of this, having had a sister die of an accidental opioid overdose by a doctor-prescribed, pharmacy-filled prescriptions. She'd been on opioids for many years, and she accidentally took opioids and killed herself. If medical marijuana had been available to her, it's very probable she would not have passed away. So I think this is a good thing, and it's necessary if physicians are careful in who they prescribe the medical marijuana to. So that's just my comment on that, and it's very sad. And with the opioid money that we got, I would like to see education highlighted, not only for children, but for adults, because my sister had no idea, even though she was a nurse, that she could die from it. Thanks.
Thank you. And sorry for the loss of your sister. Welcome.
Mary Hall Rayford again. I have not always had something to say when I came to council meetings, and when I didn't have anything to say, I didn't. But when I do, I do. And I wanted to address a situation that regarding the role of council members and mayor in Eastpointe. I'm a reader, and before I ran for council, I read the charter. Before I decided to run for mayor, I read the charter. The role is very limited, and I think a lot of people don't understand that, and so they assume wrongly that an attack, or rather criticism, is an attack. There's a big difference. I'm an educator, and I tend to educate people. Whether they want to hear it or not, that's just what I do. But I think it's incumbent upon everyone to read so that we don't have misunderstandings, so that we all know what's expected of the role. And I would love to see an opportunity for everyone to come together and discuss the differences. That's what needs to happen in this city. We don't have to be angry because we disagree. We don't have to be rude because we disagree. And we certainly don't have to lie on someone because we disagree. Unity is what this city needs, not division. And the sooner we get to that place, the better off the entire city will be. And a thought. My heart grieves for those parents who lost students at Michigan State. And I think that's something we all need to think about and start paying attention to who we vote for, put in office, because we need common sense gun laws. I know that's not a city thing, but it has to happen so we don't have to lose our young people. Thank you.
Hi there, Linda Flans, Eastpointe resident. I just wanted to say on the Sparks grant,
I believe that it cannot be used to duplicate something that already exists. So because we have a basketball court, I don't believe that that can be used for that money. That was just a tidbit that stuck in my head. And then also the parking lot as a suggestion. The parking lot at the Sled Hill was something that really needs to be done, and that's a big budget item. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Hello, Madam Mayor. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
To council residents. I'm here on behalf of the kids in the neighborhood who wants to know, can they get swings at Splendor Park? And the park between, I believe it's North and South Park, it's a park, but there's nothing but trees there. So there's a lot of kids on that side of Gratiot that really don't have a park unless they cross Gratiot to this side. And a lot of them are high school siblings with elementary and middle school kids, and they don't feel comfortable crossing Gratiot. So I told them I come to city council meeting, so they wanted to know, is there any way that we can get some type of equipment at that park on this side of Gratiot? Because there's a lot of new families, young families moving in on that side of Gratiot. I'm on that side of Gratiot. I have little ones as well. But we have to go, we have our family reunion at Splendor Park every year, but there's no swing, so the kids get bored really fast. It's at Kennedy, but Kennedy is so massive and the parking is horrible, so we tend not to go there. So I just wanted to know if you guys can think about it, if possibly upgrading that park between those two streets and adding some swings to Splendor Park. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
So, quite a few things to mention. There was someone during the first comment period who clearly did not have the facts correct in regards to the First Amendment lawsuit. The First Amendment lawsuit is against the mayor and the city, not the community. So that needed to be addressed. Secondly, there were a couple of residents who talked about the problems going on with the animals. And yeah, it is very sad and very unfortunate that there's a lot of cats and dogs roaming the streets. Someone mentioned about perhaps the penalties need to increase. Here's the thing. People who are responsible when it comes to their animals, they're going to take the best care of them possible. It's the people who are irresponsible with their animals that all these problems are occurring. A dog license here is dirt cheap. There's really no reason why these dogs should not all have a license. There are instances where you really want to try and help people keep their commitments to their animals, because the reality is if you're going to have an animal in your life, cat, dog, rabbit, hamster, guinea pig, bird, whatever, you owe those animals a lifetime commitment. You don't get to dump them because of reasons A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, that's just not going to fly. If you need assistance with food, you reach out to the groups. There's so many rescues and shelters out there that will assist. There are even organizations that have pantries for pet food. It's really just a matter of reaching out. Even if you don't know who to ask for help, still ask for help. Somebody will know where to guide you. And again, I've mentioned this numerous times, we need an animal welfare commission here in Eastpointe to work in conjunction with our animal control officer. And people need to step up to the plate, and they need to take far more responsibility in caring for their animals. And, you know, it's a really cold night, so everybody better get their dogs inside tonight.
The time is up. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. I don't care how educated you are. I said it was attacked a couple weeks ago, and I still stand to my word. Y'all attacked the mayor. But anyway, I would like to know when you're going to send somebody out there to see about that Kmart building, because, as I said, it's terrible out there. And you did do what you did last year when I addressed that, but now I'm so glad it's dark when I go back home because you can't see it. But it is really, really terrible now. Now it's gray big boxes like TVs or refrigerators that came out. So I hope you get somebody out there soon. And again, I did say the attack, and I stand on my word.
Anyone else would like to speak? Anyone else?
Good evening again, and happy birthday, and keep up the good work, Mayor. You're doing a beautiful job in Eastpointe. You made history twice, and I don't care who don't like it. It's written, can't be changed. Can't do nothing about it. And back to what I was saying earlier, you all have to do better. Half of you all come up here every Tuesday, old enough to be the mayor's grandmother, great-grandmother, granddad, great-great-granddad. So instead of using your time to be negative, set up a meeting to help her with your so-called 60 years of wisdom. And it's so sad, Curly, as a former mayor, you should help the mayor instead of intimidating her. You know, I can't wait for you to apologize, Councilman Curley. And I can't wait for you to speak up out loud either, Brother Baker. You've been watching and not speaking up, and we waiting on you. And Cardi, leave the mayor alone. My God.
Anyone else? Seeing none, the second hearing of the public is now closed. Okay, now we are at council and mayor reports. We're gonna start with Councilman DeMonico.
Thanks, Mayor. First thing, Rain Park. We are doing improvements to Rain Park. There's not quite enough room to probably do some of the things mentioned, but we're doing a walking path and a gazebo slash, yeah, I guess I'll call it that now, at Rain Park. Happy Black History Month. Wanted to recognize D. Augustus Straker. He was the first black attorney in front of the Michigan Supreme Court. He did oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court on a case where someone at a Detroit restaurant was not able to get service, and this was before Plessy v. Ferguson, and he, well, it's pretty phenomenal. I'd read more about him during this month if you can. I think he's a phenomenal gentleman. Hope everyone had a nice Valentine's Day. We had a meeting for the Memorial Day Parade, so if you've known someone that thinks it's not long enough or something, let us know who can participate and bring them to the meeting, or let us know, get the organization to come out and be part of the parade. Just let us know. We'd like to find more participants. That's probably the top priority for it, so let us know. We do meetings generally the third Monday, 6 p.m. at the Military Museum, so if you can come out, March 20th, I believe it was. March 20th, come on out. And help us out. Then a couple things, condolences to the families at MSU, the 3 families there, especially Ariel Anderson, who had ties to Eastpointe. Please keep them in your thoughts. And then also, previous Mayor Jim Kelly, just learned that he has passed away, so keep his family in your thoughts. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I guess we can go right down the line. Councilwoman Inez.
Well, we've been blessed this month to have 3 council birthdays, so including today. So happy birthday,
Thank you,
Mayor.
ma'am.
That being said, I was thinking about today's meeting, and my thought was that I don't believe that the celebration of anyone or any community should be relegated to just 1 month or even 1 day. And that notwithstanding, much like birthdays, though, Easter, Christmas, and holidays, we have established dedicated times to celebrate and to remember the accomplishments and honor the lives and sacrifices of those who are around us and those who have gone before us. And if the recent tragedy at MSU that resulted in the traumatic alteration of the lives of not only an entire college campus, but the loss of 3 very beautiful lives in Brian Frazier, Alexandria Verner, and our own Eastpointe and Harper Woods resident, Ariel Anderson. If those tragedies taught us nothing, they should have reminded us that we should celebrate the ones we love, honor and respect them, and look out for those who have significantly impacted our lives. And we should do that every day. So, in honor of that, I want to remind you from a quote of President Barack Obama that my 13-year-old son recently used in his first place winning speech that he wrote for a local Black History Month contest. And the quote is, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and we are the change that we seek."
Thank you, ma'am. That was beautiful. Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Library Commission meeting today, and as usual, their number of visitors is increasing, seems like every month. In the month of January, there were 3,358 people who visited the library. That's 700 more than a year ago in January. So there's so many things to see at the library. And as I remind everybody when I talk about the library, that the Friends of the Library are still collecting returnables, bottles, and cans. So if you have any and you feel like that you would rather give it to the Friends of the Library so they could buy things for the library, you can take them over there. Or if you don't want to take them over there, put them on your front porch, call me and I'll come and pick them up and take them over there. The Friends of the Library are having a fundraiser. Sounds really interesting. On March 25th at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be bunco. I've never played it. I know you use dice or something, but because of that, people 18 and over can participate. Kids won't be able to go over there. And the tickets are $10, and you can get the tickets at the library, and there will be food to purchase. So if you want to participate in something that I guess is supposed to be a lot of fun, bunco, go over there and buy a ticket. And they have lots of food at as cheap a price as they can possibly make. And be proud of our library. It's one of the best in Macomb County. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to give a shout out to administration and Mr. Ian McCain over there, because I believe I have it right that he sought out this the MDBBA, which was the whole design was to help support businesses, small businesses. And I know he was very passionate about it when he first came here, and I actually got a chance to sit down and talk with him. He scheduled time with all of us to sit down and kind of learn who he was and some of like where his passion was. And I know I'm not going to say it like as good as he explained it to me, but I know his passion was for the community, and he has a strong passion for small businesses, minority businesses, women-owned businesses. He's expressed that multiple times, and so just kudos to him for his hard work. This man finds information, and when I'm talking to him in passing and learning about things that he's doing, hats off, and I keep hearing that he's known everywhere, so he's like world-renowned or something like that. So just a shout out to Ian. And in regards to the parks, and I know the lady, she left, but I wanted to say about our Parks Commission, because they actually do a great job with community engagement. They go out to learn what the people in the community want. Of course, you can't survey everyone, but they start like right by the park where they're trying to make the improvements to try to learn of the needs of that immediate vicinity, the desires of that immediate vicinity. And so I just wanted to make sure that got noted, that this is something that they do, and they put a lot of passion behind what they want to see come to the city, and trying to make it good and something accessible and fun for everyone. So just kudos to them for that. And I was going to also highlight that Getz Park does have the playground equipment. It's similar in size to Rain Park. My understanding was that the general consensus for Rain Park was, as Gary Sasek always calls it, people want it as a bucolic, I believe is what he calls it. But it's just a green space where they get this certain energy and feeling, and they just love the serenity of the park. So if Getz Park is something that's accessible, that's I guess a good alternative without crossing Gratiot. And also for my friend here out front, he always gets on me for not giving my word. So I have one. It's desuetude, and that is spelled Desuetude. Desuetude, and that simply is a state of disuse. So we don't want to let our humanity, our kindness, our love, and our civility fall into a state of desuetude.
Okay, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
I had that written down, but I haven't covered it.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who came out, no matter what the comment, opinion was. You know, that is why we have our council meetings for. The Boys and Girls Club, I talked to the person that oversees that's in Eastpointe, and they will be opening in the summer, so I'm excited about that. They have an event on the 25th on the west side for our young people. If you want to go to that, you just go to their website and find out more information. Seeing what they do at other locations allows you to see what they're going to do for our location as well. Also, I want to send my condolences to all the families who are dealing with the loss of the loved one that resided or attended MSU, the passing, and a lot of the children who, the young people that go there, some didn't go back because of the things they dealt with at that time. And I actually attended the funeral today for Ariel Diamond Anderson, and was able to speak to her mom along with a lot of other dignitaries. With our governor was there, Lieutenant Governor, as well as Mayor Kendall, and other elected officials to show our support for the families there. And it was, and they also gave her an honorarium degree. She was going to school to be a surgeon, so she did get a degree from MSU, and that was huge. And she was only 19 years old, so just sitting in there just she looked like one of my daughters. And so it really affected me at the funeral to see our young people and the things of how hate looks, you know, going to the schools and just doing stuff. They also talked about our legislators doing something about gun violence and mental health. That's why I'm so proud of our director, Rohib. He had stepped up and did he wrote a law into where if you didn't lock your car up, you know, you were fined and things like that. So ordinance he wrote up. And even though he had to fight those challenges, it was something good, you know. So Eastpointe has been proactive on guns in our streets. And so I just thank God for our leaders in our police department for being proactive and keeping our residents safe. Also, if you go to Macomb County's website, They are nominating businesses and also nominating volunteers. So I would love to see some of our Eastpointe residents and volunteers be nominated in Macomb County. So just go to that website. If you know of a good business, we have a business owner who gave us our corned beef, things like that. It helps their name get out there a lot more throughout the county. So, so please go on Macomb County's website and nominate a business right here in Eastpointe, and also a volunteer that you've seen that, that is not on a commission, but is out there working to make our city beautiful. Also, I want to thank the Black Business Alliance for their presentation, and I want to say welcome to the community, and those that are part of the Economic Development, Ian and Ms. Holman, and all of the administrators that have something to do with it. I want to say thank you to that. And I also want to thank Miss Burrell Productions. This weekend at my church, they did a Black History play called But My God, He Has No Favorites. And they surprised me and did a segment in there about me. So they asked questions and who did this and who did what, and then the audience had to find out who it was. And so I was surprised in that, and then my daughters were actually in the play on my behalf. So they did an amazing job. They were proud, and and that is what I do this for my legacy, not only within my community, but definitely for my daughters. When they see me standing up and having a voice for other people, they stand up and they're going to grow up and have a voice as well for the people. So saying that, Happy Black History Month, everyone, as well. And also, last but not least, I also want to highlight, I don't have a proclamation right now, but I did talk to the governor earlier today, and I want to put a proclamation together for her in respect of Black History Month, even though it is American history. So I told her we probably can get it to her in March. But she has done so much for African Americans. And I want to make sure we highlight our governor. She said she would send over some information. We have a lot of influencers, innovators, inventors that were African Americans. But then we have also people that were not Black that paved the way and made sure that those barriers stopped. And she has been a bridge, across the water for African Americans to be able to go to the other side to do a lot of things. So it's not just about, one race doing one thing, but we definitely want to highlight a race of people that don't get highlighted and have been enslaved and things like that. But we also want to highlight those people who have made a way for those who were not fairly treated. So I definitely want to put that together and tell our governor thank you for the work she has done and paving the way for so many people. So probably next council meeting, but once we get the information, we'll put that together. So that will be for in respect for Black History Month, and we want to make sure we proclaim that in respect for our governor for the things that she has done. Okay, can I get a motion for adjournment, please?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley? Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. God bless, meeting adjourned.